everybody, it's Randy with Carchaeology, and the dog and I are off on an adventure today to go find, well, crusty old cars in a building somewhere, because that's what I frickin' do. In any case, there's some cars in this warehouse, in this Quonset hut, that have been sitting for decades. There's cars in this building that are well over 100 years old, and all of it must be sold. So we got a tip from a good friend and a fellow hunter that these cars were available. I've talked with the owner, or actually the son of the owner of these cars that had had them so many years, and it is time for this stuff to find new homes. So I'm gonna pick up my buddy Sebastien. We're gonna aim up north of Los Angeles, see what sort of dusty treasures are in this building, and see if we bring anything back to the lab. And as you well know, I've got an awful lot to do at the lab, yet the hunt is just way too attractive. I can't stop looking for new stuff, and so off we go to find new stuff, or old stuff. In any case, follow along. Let's see what sort of trouble we get into today. Right, pup? So we've arrived in Simi Valley, California, and we are following the gentleman ahead of us here to a building that has neat old shit, and I'm dying to see it. So we're in the middle of suburbia, and there's this little gate that leads to a little slice of rural country that still remains here. And there's a Quonset hut here apparently that is housing these neat old cars. Freya's ready to check it out. She can smell squirrels. They've got to be here somewhere.
I can smell cows.
Oh, yeah. And here we are.
Oh, that is awesome.
Horses and everything. How cool.
Much fun for you.
Now, before we get inside this box, let me take you back to 2013 when the owner of these cars gave a video tour of the collection.
1919 Dodge Touring, running when it was parked. 1925 Dodge Touring, and behind that is on the same far side is a Model T 1923 high radiator, converted to a wood-bodied truck. This is a 1925 Chevy Touring. And then over to the left in the corner is a 1923 Dodge Coupe that was going through a total rebuild by a professional builder. It's got, he used maple wood to replace the wood, etc., etc. It has all the original parts plus a number of never before used original parts added in as it was being rebuilt. Only thing that's missing on this car is the hood. This is a 1923 Model T Touring, which was converted to a wood-bodied pickup truck. I call it the first ranchero. It came in off of a ranch. It has extra rear ends to take it back to original touring configuration. In the back, it is complete, and I do have a number of new parts that go with it. In behind it, incidentally, is an entire rear end for a 20s Dodge. It would fit either one of these other cars, and it is totally there. This is a 1925 Dodge Touring, one of my first cars. It did run at the time that it came in here. It is complete. The body is very weathered. The interior is very weathered. I don't have a top, but there's enough here to provide models to rebuild or copy the original. This is a 1925 Dodge Touring. It has a number of interesting features in that it still has the original muffler. I've confirmed by the the unusual configuration, which exactly matches what's shown in the book. The numbers match, chassis and engine. This is a 1919 Dodge Touring. It's complete, and I did a lot of running with this car, had a lot of fun with it, and it was complete when it was put away. I have no reason to expect that it would take anything more than a modicum of cleanup and rehabbing of the wear parts, some of the wear parts, to become a running car again. Original parts and original books and other related items that would be useful to go with the particular cars. They're focused on the Buick that I have over at the house, in addition to the cars that you see here, and also a Lincoln Continental that I have at the house. 1931 Model A pickup closed cab, Ford Model A pickup closed cab. Original body and chassis. 1927 Buick Town Brougham, first year that they put out a Town Brougham model, designed for fancification of the Standard, which was the only one they had. 1947 Lincoln Continental, totally original and complete. We have quite a few extra parts, original parts, as I was selling parts at one point many years ago and had leftover inventory.
Now, at the time of that video, the owner was in his 80s. Now, 9 years have passed, and he's in his 90s, and the cars remain in the exact same spot that they were before. And the family's pushing. It's time for this stuff to go. The gentleman's not going to be in here working on these cars anytime soon, and it's sad to see this stuff sit. It's a much better thing to get it into the hands of people that are going to work on these cars, enjoy them, and get them back out into circulation after sitting here, some of these cars, since the 1970s. So a quick walk around of everything. We kind of crank engines on stuff. This is the engine in the 1925 Dodge Touring. We found a crank in the parts pile on the shelf there. We'll get Seb to dive in here and see if we can get this engine to turn. That's one of the joys of this early stuff, is that you can do things like this and turn an engine by hand. They're designed to do that, which is fantastic. And sure enough, that one's free. So even though it's not been driven or run during his ownership, and he had bought that since the 70s, there's a chance that it will. And what a cool car it is.
The Buick's a 26,
the
right?
Model T Touring Turn Truck is an interesting pile of stuff. There's parts here and there for just about everything. The little Dodge Coupe is a very interesting car because so much work has been done with that. The chassis fully restored, the engine rebuilt, the bodywork is mostly done on it. It seems to be very complete, with the exception of what I understand is the hood is missing, and that might be a tough part to find. But great project. This 25 Chevrolet Touring is another neat car. Very complete. Gauges are all there. This was a car that was running and driving at some point, which means it'll probably run and drive again. The 1919 Dodge Touring, super attractive, and parts on the shelves. Now this looks like it's thinned out a little bit since the video of 9 years ago, but a lot of these boxes are marked with the cars that they go to. We then went to the other property, to the house, to see the vehicles that are there. This 1927 Buick is a fantastic car, Fisher body on this. This is a Town Brougham model, which is fairly uncommon. It's got some great accessories. That spotlight is super, super cool with the gun-like handle on it. Dash is very complete, steering wheel fantastic. Older restoration car that unfortunately has just been stored poorly. It looks like some of it could be brought back and saved. Cool accessories like that clock in the mirror. But unfortunately, the paint is starting to fail. And probably the worst part about this particular car is the top, because the sun has cooked that. But overall, very complete in here. Headliner is sagging. That's going to need to be dealt with. The top material, of course, on the outside needs to be replaced. There's lots of extra parts in here. Some may not be for this car. But still, really interesting, pretty solid old 20s era car. Love the Landau bars. Again, that top needs to be done. Tires are holding air. Wheels seem to be in decent shape. Now, this car, out of all of the cars in the collection, was probably the last one to run. In fact, they started this not too long ago, and we're actually going to give an attempt here to start it while we're here today. So we've got a can of gas, we've got a battery charger on it. We'll get a little ether into the carb, perhaps, to see if we can liven it up. There has been some modifications to this car. It looks like the carburetor has been changed. Normally this is an updraft carb, you can see that down below, and somebody installed a different manifold with a downdraft carb on the top, and that bypasses the vacuum assist fuel system that's on these cars that can be a little bit troublesome. Other great stuff, the Lincoln, the Model A. There was even this fantastic 37 Ford that was under a cover here. This particular one is not being sold. This is probably the best one in the collection, and it's a hands-off now. We can't take that one home. But the Buick is up for grabs. Very tempting to do something fun with this. We'll see if we can crank the engine over and get a little noise out of it. They're cranking over just fine. And a bit of love. Now, it seems like the fuel system is clogged up a little bit in here. It's just not pulling up into the fuel filter. Could be a clog in the tank or in the line, but it's definitely not filling up. But with a little bit of effort, I really think this car would be up and running. I imagine with a couple hours of tinkering, we could get this thing actually out and on the road again. So another really, really fun vehicle. Would be cool to take this on and bring some life back out into it and get it out on the road. The Model A truck. We gave a quick little attempt to crank that over and start it up. This is probably my personal favorite out of the cars that are here. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's not up for grabs, although who knows what happens with time. It does sound like the family members are holding on to that, or someone within the family is going to keep this little truck. It's a great truck, super solid, super original. Only thing that's been upgraded on it is the addition of juice brakes and smaller wheels from mid-30s Ford. But super cool, solid little truck. And again, I know this thing will fire up and run and drive with a little bit of tinkering. Let's see. You know, the hard part with all of these cars is which one do you choose, right? I don't have the room, the money, the space, any of that to take on everything. But there's some wonderful treasures here. So we're talking with the owners. We're going to see if we can put a deal together on something. But in the meantime, look at this stuff, and if you have any interest in what you see here, chime in the comments, and then perhaps in another video here, we can see what happens with these amazing cars. But cool opportunity to see this stuff. The Model A, the Buick, the Lincoln, all the crusty stuff over in the Quonset hut. A fantastic trip out to see these treasures, and to perhaps be the ones to take some of this home. So we're going to sit down at the bargaining table here and see where we end up. Well, we had an absolute blast going up and taking a look at these cars. Really some interesting machines there. Unfortunately, a very rare occurrence came up, and I am going home with an empty trailer. That's right, I went fishing and I didn't catch anything. However, it does look like there might be a possibility of working a deal on 1 or 2 or 3 or however many of these cars. So it's sort of an estate sale situation. He's got to run any offers by the family members. So I did make an offer on a couple of the cars, and we'll find out in a few days if he's hip to taking that offer. But regardless of what happens, whether any of this stuff comes back to the lab or not, it was a great day out, spending time with my buddy Sebastien, hunting, looking for treasures, meeting a really interesting guy, hearing the stories and seeing some fascinating cars. So this will be part one of this video. I'll let you know if there's going to be a part two. And until then, thank you so much for watching and coming along on this Pickin' Treasure. There are treasures everywhere. Keep on digging them up and driving them, folks. And again, if you see anything in this video that might be of interest to you, let me know, because it all must be sold. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.